The story of Breitling begins in 1884 when Leon Breitling opened his first shop at Saint-Imier. At this address, he began to develop and produce his iconic watches. His designs led to patented innovations that gave Breitling its important place in watchmaking history. With his increasing success, Leon Breitling decided to transform his workshop in a full-fledged watch factory in 1892. He moved operations to Chaux-de-Fonds, the watchmaking capital of Switzerland and of the world at the time. In 1893, Breitling patented a movement with an astonishing power reserve of 8 days. That year, Breitling also introduced the pulsograph for measuring a patient's pulse. Leon Breitling's Vitesse pocket watch included his tachymeter innovation and was used by police officers in 1906 to issue the first speeding tickets in Switzerland. So, we have Breitling to thank for that advancement as well. Gaston Breitling succeeded his father and followed in his footsteps, and in 1915, Gaston created one of the first wrist-worn chronographs with an independent pusher at 2 o'clock. In the early 1940s, Breitling started working on aviation instruments known for their precision and reliability. Logically, its aviation department supplied the British Royal Air Forces among many other. During these years, Breitling started producing its famous watch line, still popular and in production to this day. First, they patented an innovative chronograph with system capable of easily handling a wide range of mathematical operations, calculations and more. The name of this new line was famous Chronomat. Later, Breitling presented their Premier collection in 1943, name coming from the French word for first. They added an elegant yet useful complication to its Premier line, the Datora and Duograph. It could read the date, day and moon phase, all while maintaining a very elegant balanced design and case proportions. Also the Navitimer line or the stylish SuperOcean line that will both come a decade later. In 1952, Willy Breitling was approached by the renowned US Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association and asked to create a new chronograph for its members. He decided to develop the Navitimer, a wrist-worn instrument that would enable pilots to perform all necessary flight calculations. This very first Navitimer, designed for the AOPA, did not feature the Breitling brand name or logo on the dial. Its iconic 806 reference was not stamped on the case back, and the watch was only distributed to the AOPA members. In fact, most Swiss watch brands were not concerned about building a brand back then. They simply wanted to make a great timepieces. Breitling also didn't stamp most of its movements in the 1940s and early 1950s. However, just a few years later, around 1956, the Navitimer was made available on the open market, featuring the Breitling name above a stylized winged logo and not bearing any reference to the AOPA. It was then that it also received its now iconic 806 reference. In 1957, Breitling simultaneously launches 2 diving watches, a time-only elegant diver, reference number 1004, and a more sportier chronograph, reference 807, both named SuperOcean. One interesting fact ties Breitling with the space missions. Omega may be known for its moon watch, but Breitling created the first chronograph that went to space outside the Earth's atmosphere. Astronaut Malcolm Scott Carpenter wore the cosmonaut in 1962 during a mission on the Aurora 7 space capsule. Breitling added the 24-hour dial for distinguishing between night and day. Breitling introduces the new top time line in 1964. It is an elegant, affordable chronograph with simple yet elegant lines. With this step, Breitling wanted to approach the younger generations. The first reference of this line to be offered is the reference 2002 with 2 sub-dials. This model becomes hugely popular when it is worn by James Bond in the movie Thunderball in 1965. Eventually, the exact watch worn in the James Bond movie was bought at a car boot sale for about £25 and sold at the auction in 2013 for almost £104,000, making it one of the most expensive vintage Breitling watches ever sold. Today, Breitling is not the company that it used to be. At the end of the 1970s, as a consequence of the quartz crisis, Breitling found itself in financial difficulties and ultimately had to declare bankruptcy and sell off multiple assets. The proprietary rights for the name Breitling and the Navitimer was sold to its competitor Sikura, who was known at the time for its mid-range diving watches and chronographs. As one of the few manufacturers that doesn't belong to the three largest watch corporations, being Richemont, Swatch and LVMH, Breitling continues to track on with its sporty-oriented legacy. Here we have 2022 Breitling SuperOcean, with origins dating to the late 1950s. The SuperOcean collection is one of the Breitling's longest running and most popular collections. It has timeless design with a touch of heritage, unlike the new, more square hands and markers SuperOcean, which deviates a little from the tradition. This SuperOcean is 42mm in diameter, with polished and brushed stainless steel case. The deep curve of the case sides leads to the thick tapered lugs. Size between lugs is 20mm, 50.5mm lug to lug, 13.5mm in thickness. On the right side we have a signed screw-down crown protected by thick crown guards. This SuperOcean model has a unidirectional dive bezel with deep knurling for extra grip, black vulcanized rubber dive insert with raised silver numerals which are very noticeable. A triangle with lume pip is clearly positioned at 12 o'clock. Click sounds very good and bezel still doesn't have any give, considering that this watch is several years old. On the reverse is a solid screwed-down case back with Breitling SuperOcean engraved in the center. Water resistance is 500 meters and it weighs about 120 grams. Now about the crystal and the dial. This watch has slightly domed sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on both sides. It has applied large dagger and Arabic numeral indexes infilled with a Super-LumiNova, marking the hours. A date window is at 3 o'clock position. Broad sword hands infilled with Super-LumiNova, complemented by a red arrow tipped sweeping second hand. At the 12 o'clock we have the applied Breitling motif. This model of SuperOcean is powered by Breitling caliber 17, chronometer certified movement and automatic based on the ETA 2824-2, with 25 joules, 28,800 beats per hour and 38 hours of power reserve. The bidirectional rotor adds efficiency and accuracy with hacking and hand winding. Hands and markers are filled with green Super-LumiNova, and as you can see, it glows really bright. It is noticeable even during the daytime, so you don't have to worry about checking the time in low light conditions. The watch comes fitted on a thick 20mm Breitling rubber strap, with a signed buckle and Breitling set deep into the strap. At the first glance, the Breitling inscription may seem excessive, but when the bracelet is wrapped around the wrist, this is not the case, and just like that, it breaks up the monotonous black rubber. I wore this Breitling SuperOcean throughout my vacation and as it should be, at the sea. I don't like to get overly excited with the watches in the water, but I can say that I've dipped this one a few times. I have noticed that the rubber straps suit me more and more. Somehow they fit best and adapt to the wrist. They are also easy to maintain and clean. The diameter of the case is ideal. It doesn't bother me in those positions when I'm moving my hand, and sometimes I'm not aware of its presence on the wrist. The dial is pretty visible and the reading of the time is intuitive and effortless. The excellent illumination also ensures easy reading at nighttime and low visibility situations. Breitling's timeless design with excellent proportions combined with the punctual ETA or B17 movement makes this watch tick most of the boxes. It is, I can freely say, excellent tool watch, and together we survived the vacation and attempt of robbery on my car, where this Breitling, using its stealth abilities, narrowly escaped being stolen along with other important things that were in the glove compartment. Breitling SuperOcean 42 is quality built to last and to be persistently used, unlike my broken window and trust in mankind. But we made some wonderful and some not so wonderful moments on this trip that I will carry in my memory from this day on. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to subscribe, stay punctual, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.